Welcome back to the Kiwi Wedding Podcast. My name is Lydia. I am a wedding photographer at Lydia Rachel Photography and your host. On today's episode, I'm chatting to recent bride and wedding dress designer Clara. She had a gorgeous, whimsical, romantic wedding at the TreeChurch. We talk through her beautiful love story, a gorgeous, wholesome proposal with a seaplane and a beach in a very special part of the country, finding the perfect venue, deciding on their vision for the day, the process of designing and making her own wedding dress, and all about her whole planning process. We also talk about her business, Clara Bridal. She's a super talented wedding dress designer and mostly does bespoke custom-made dresses. She also has a core collection, so definitely go and check out her work. I loved hearing all about her business journey, and she has some great advice and tips on the whole dress process and for on the day as well. Jump over to Instagram to see some beautiful photos from her wedding day and let me know what you thought of the episode. We're getting so close to 100 episodes, guys, which is just crazy. But for now, enjoy episode 97 with Clara. Hi, Clara. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. So excited to chat all about your wedding and being a vendor as well.
Thank you for having me.
Your wedding photos look stunning, so excited to get into it. To start with, if you could just tell me a bit about you and your partner, how you guys met, and your life together.
Well, Tom and I met in what will one day be the old-fashioned day on Tinder. But I feel like with Tom, I kind of instantly knew, like swiping away, came across his photo. I was like, oh yeah, I don't need to look anymore. That's the one, I think. And when we met, it kind of definitely reaffirmed that my instincts about him were right. So yeah, it was pretty instant for us that we clicked and went ahead. And I think as well during that time it was over summer, so like both of us didn't have a huge amount to do, so we could just spend a lot of time together and really get to know each other, which was so nice.
Always good to hear a successful dating app story and
Yeah,
summer
it's a
love.
great way
We
to
love
meet
that.
people.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly how the majority of people meet these days, so it's so
Yeah,
good.
no shame.
Yeah, exactly. So you were together for a while and then got engaged. Can you tell us a bit about the proposal story?
So we were actually down in with Tom's family in Waikawa, which is kind of like the top of the South Island. And we actually just had COVID, both of us. And he was acting like different, but then I just thought he was a bit sick and a bit stressed about work. So I kind of didn't really pay attention to it. But then the morning of, he woke up early, which is like out of character to begin with. And then he gave me a letter or like a note with to-do lists of things I needed to do, like timings for you can go on your phone for this amount of time, have your makeup done by this time, wear this outfit, and then someone will be waiting for you to take you to your next destination. And his sister came in the room to grab his jacket for him, and I kind of looked at her and I was like I knew, she knew, we both knew. And it was like, I definitely didn't expect it to be happening on this trip. We kind of talked about the fact that, oh yeah, probably we'll get engaged at some point that year. But I definitely didn't think it was probably like the 3rd of January or something like that. And he was efficient. He didn't waste time. So we arrived at a airplane hangar, and Tom is a pilot, and so I thought maybe he was flying the plane, but he was like, no, I would be way too nervous to be flying a plane. So we hopped in a little seaplane with Ella as well, his sister, and flew over some of the sounds and flew into a bay and kind of walked along the beach, like hopped out into the water, hopped along the beach, and then he had a very cute speech written out, very sweet words, and got down on one knee and did it all by 9 o'clock.
Nice and early. Keep you waiting all
Early
day.
bird. Yeah.
Mm.
But it was so beautiful. He did very well.
Oh, so sweet. That's a very magical story and beautiful place to do it as well. I'm sure that's like
Yeah.
special to go back to that area too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We found out afterwards as well that, well, the pilot said that we weren't actually supposed to be going in there. It's kind of like probably a reserve or something like that. So it's
Mm.
not allowed. But
Even more
I think,
secretly special.
yeah. So I think it's probably like a walking track, but you can also boat into the bay. But it'd be quite cool to go back and do a walk to get there.
Yeah. So had you been one of those girls that dreamed about your wedding? I guess you worked in the industry, so has been around weddings a bit. But yeah, did you have like a specific vision in mind for your own? And what were those sort of first steps, finding a venue, all of that?
Surprisingly, I had never really thought that far ahead. Like, I never wanted to get ahead of myself when I was dating and like didn't want to like be presumptuous. So I never really did like the Pinterest board beforehand. Um, but then pretty much as soon as it was like, okay, I can make a Pinterest board now.
Mm.
I think as well, like with my parents, because they split up when I was really young, so I kind of just didn't imagine that my wedding would be very easy for them. So I didn't ever think about it. And I just was like, it's going to be kind of awkward, but it wasn't awkward. They did really well.
Mm.
And then in terms of planning, I was definitely a big PowerPoint bride. I had my PowerPoint spreadsheets and Pinterest boards, went hard. I did go through each location that we could possibly do and priced it all up for each location. And I think that's when you start to realize as a bride, you're like, oh, wow, this does add up a lot depending on where you go. So I think that's, we realize that even though we love the vineyard spots, you do have to pay for all of the wine that's their wine, which does bump the cost up quite a bit. So that is why we went for TreeChurch, where we can bring our own, and it kind of made it so that it wasn't such a big cost, which was quite good.
Oh, such a beautiful spot. And did you have your
Yeah,
reception there as well?
yeah, we did. It's a venue that has quite an early
Very early
cutoff, so
cutoff.
they,
Yeah.
yeah, they
Heard
finish
all about
at
that.
9:30,
Mm.
which means that you kind of, well, music off at 9:30, so you can kind of like meander a little bit afterwards. But it is an earlier finish, but which is why Tom and I thought about doing somewhere else, and we kind of considered other options, but we kept coming back to it because it was just so beautiful. To be honest, we don't actually mind going to bed early. Like, it was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is great. We don't have to feel like we have to stay the whole night. We can just like, this was lovely, leave you on a high and go back to our quiet time.
Yeah, no, I love that. You can just make the day whatever you want, really. You don't have to finish
Yeah.
at midnight or whatever. So, yeah, kind of nice to have an end time sometimes.
Yeah, kind of. I did love the early bedtime. Well, we still did stay up late, but it was like nice that it was just us time.
So good. What were your most important elements when it came to the day? I can imagine your dress was pretty up there, but yeah, did you have your kind of top priorities when it came to, yeah, planning?
I think definitely the venue was probably the main one, and then it kind of everything trickles off the venue, and you can kind of take inspiration from the venue with the dress. That's probably one of the most important things. The other one was photography, and yeah, it was quite special to have Ashley take the photos from Sapphire Studios. She's so talented, so it was nice to like have her.
Yeah, amazing. Super important ones. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, your photos turned out stunning too. Ash is amazing.
I actually got the photo album back today, I think. It's arrived
Ah,
at my mom's house, so I have to go and
exciting.
check it out.
Oh, so good. And yeah, can we talk about your dress a bit? Did you make it yourself? What was that whole process like? So you kind of were inspired from the venue. Yeah, can you talk us through it a little bit?
Yeah, so my dress is definitely inspired by the venue, but it was made by me, and I did really enjoy the process of designing and making my dress. I actually went over to Australia with my friend just because I wanted to get the bridal experience, even though I was making my own dress. And I also wanted to be able to kind of see how other designers make their dresses, because there is kind of a veil on bridal dressmaking and you can't go in easily and see how they're made. Like, obviously, you can watch your videos online, and like there are some secrets, I guess, that you can't know unless you know. So it was great to like go and have a look at the secrets.
Yeah.
And then on the flight back, I was flying home by myself, and pretty much I was just drawing. I bought my sketch pad and just came up with the design on the plane, and it was actually one of the easiest designing processes that I had. It was like the first design that I did was the design. So
Amazing.
yeah, it made it quite easy. And I did change a tiny bit. I had originally done that it was going to go into a V, and kind of be a bit more sharp at the neckline, but I ended up rounding it off and making it a bit more sweetheart, which was probably the only change that I made from my original sketch. But yeah, I love the whole Renaissance vibe, which is kind of what I was going.
So good. Were you super organized with it? Not like a stressful last minute thing?
Yeah, I tried quite hard to be, because with all the other brides getting their dresses done, so I was like, I worked hard to make sure my dress was done earlier, and then I didn't have to think about it. It was all done. And then making the bridesmaids dresses and the mom's dresses, they were mostly done as well. There wasn't too much left to do, but I did make a second dress, which I almost didn't end up going ahead with because I was not 100% loving it. I had a neckline that was a little bit different and it didn't quite look so good on me. So I ended up having my friends help to redesign a neckline together, which was quite a fun process to go to my friend Jess at Reparation Studio. So she helped me create this cool draping on the neck, and we kind of worked it out together, which was a fun process, a little collab. But I definitely probably wouldn't have gone ahead with the second dress if I hadn't had her help, because I was like, oh, it really doesn't matter. Like, I love my dress so much that I didn't know if I wanted to change into anything else. But I feel like with the second dress, the way it was, I was like, no, this is beautiful. We can't not wear it.
Oh, I love that. So good.
Yeah, so that was the only one that was a hustle to the end. That was like
Yeah.
the day before. I was like sewing the last minute things on it, but it came together.
Yeah, amazing. Good that you got some help with it as well. So you had a bridal party. How was that process choosing them? Did you find that quite easy?
Yeah, it was relatively easy. I think Tom actually really struggled with choosing his, and I think that made it tricky because he really wasn't sure who to have and how many numbers he wanted, and he wanted it to be symmetrical as well, make sure it was the same. But in the end, because I wanted my brother to be a part of it, because he is definitely one of my best friends, so having him up there was really lovely as well. He then sat back down with everyone else, like with the family, for the thing. So Tom had his nice symmetrical sides. So it worked out.
Nice. And what about the guest list? Did you find that quite hard to narrow down?
Yeah, we worked hard to get it small. We probably got it as small as we could with our families, because we do have quite big families, both have broken up families. So lots of different sides and lots of different people. So we ended up with 80 guests. But we worked hard to keep it small, but that's probably as small as we could go.
Yeah, that's quite a nice number though, not too overwhelming or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. It felt like intimate.
Yeah, nice. And yeah, can you walk us through the big day a bit, maybe a little bit leading up to it, and yeah, any highlights or favorite moments?
So I guess in the lead up, I took the week off work and just actually someone gave me the advice to not do anything the week before the wedding, which was really great advice. And it's something that I aimed to do, which meant that I didn't have as much to do, but I still ended up doing obviously the dress, which was good to finish, and there wasn't too much else that needed to happen. The day of, I actually woke up quite early the day of, and we were staying at the venue, and I just went for a walk around by myself, and it was so nice to just like have a very tranquil, chill time, be in the garden, very peaceful. And then I guess woke up, and with the bridesmaids we went into the church and they wanted to do a little practice with the shoes, so did a little practice down the aisle again. It actually everything was very relaxed the morning of, which was really lovely. But the time does to get away from you. You end up just like, you're like, oh wow, it's time to go already. It does just fly by. And then the day, I guess we were very on time. We were very to schedule, which was great. And walking down the aisle, I feel like I naturally don't really love attention. So I think, yeah, it's a weird feeling to be a celebrity for a day. And I don't know if I love being a celebrity. I
Great way
think
to explain it, actually.
like do
Paparazzi
feel
and
like,
all.
yeah, not necessarily something that comes naturally to me or that I would want for my future. But it was nice for one day. And yeah, I think I almost forgot to look at Tom as I was walking down the aisle. I was too like overwhelmed by everyone else. It was funny in the practice that we went through, I like was crying in the practice, but in the real one, I think I got my tears out for the practice. So on the real
That
one, I was
happens a
like,
lot. Yeah.
I was overwhelmed by all the people's. But it was, yeah, nice to be there with Tom at the end of the aisle. I think we were both quite nervous, and we just like, I don't know, it's a funny thing to be in front of people declaring your love. But it was a beautiful thing. I think coming out of the church afterwards was quite special, and just having that little time by ourselves before everyone joined us. Even like during the service, my friend Jessie did the ceremony, and she did such a beautiful job. It was like so personal, and her words were just amazing, like really captured us, which was really nice. Don't know if it's the most natural feeling being in that situation, but I guess it's a once in a lifetime thing, so it should be a strange experience.
Yeah.
And then coming out, we kind of worked our way around the venue. So we stayed, had our drinks in this one area, and then moved through to another area which had a beautiful grazing table that Three Forks put on for us. And we did the cake cutting earlier rather than later, because I was quite keen for everyone to have cake, because I often find at weddings you miss out on the cake because you're not hungry after all your food. But yeah, I was just not hungry that day. I don't know. People talk about the fact that they don't get hungry on their wedding day, but I didn't realize that it would happen to me. But I just wasn't hungry at all. Organize all this beautiful food for yourself, and, like go through all the effort, and then you realize that you're not actually very hungry. And yeah, there are lots of games in that area, like very chill picnic blankets around. And then went through to the reception area, which is around the corner from that area, and had a beautiful reception with beautiful speeches. I feel like this is boring to talk about, but
No, it's great. Just any like favorite moments with it?
I think definitely the speeches, they were so beautiful. Everyone did so well. I always love speeches at a wedding, and I think they are just such a special part. And then our first dance was amazing as well. I actually forgot how to dance though. I got stage fright. I think
Oh.
I wasn't nervous the whole day, but for the dance I was like, oh, I didn't expect to feel a bit
Did you
nervous.
have a planned dance or like had you practiced something? Yeah.
We did have like a little practice. We did like a 1 hour private tutor with people at Viva Dance, and they gave us some moves, which was quite good. Tom's actually a really good dancer, so he it's actually really nice, like having him lead and like go with the flow. But I just couldn't remember how to turn for the first little while, and then I was like, oh no, I remember, I got it.
so good. Sounds like such an amazing day. Lots of nice highlights in there. What did you find the hardest part about the whole wedding planning process? Is there anything you look back on and regret or would have done a little bit differently?
I think we do put so much pressure on one day. We spend so much time thinking about it. Or I did anyway. I spent so much time planning and thinking, and it came out beautifully. But I do feel like, it really doesn't matter that much. It's about your person, and it's about
Yeah.
the relationship that you share, and it's actually not about the things or the details, even though they all come together so beautifully. It all really doesn't matter that much, which I guess is nice to know. And like, I even kind of going into it, I think I put a bit of pressure on myself that I was like, oh, I'm in the industry, it has to be so great, and like it's a great showcase of everything. But even being in the industry, like, it really didn't matter, and it's just about me and Tom, really. And I think that's nice, like looking back on it, it's like it was so beautiful and every detail was so well thought out, but it could have also been so simple and so chill, and it would have been just as perfect.
Yeah, so good. Just remembering what's most important. That's great
Yeah.
advice. And did you guys go on honeymoon straight away? What did planning that look like?
We are actually still yet to go on our honeymoon. We kind of went on a mini moon straight away, which was really nice. We had a little hobbit hole canopy camping spot, which was quite close to the venue. And actually, during the wedding night, we were driving to the venue, or like not the venue, the canopy camping spot, and they have a little buggy, and it stopped working, and like something happened to it, like it short circuit or whatever. Tom knew what was going on, but I was like, "Oh gosh, we're gonna have to walk."
Oh.
But Tom managed to get in there and like fix whatever was wrong. But I was like, oh, I married the right guy.
Yeah. Handyman.
Man.
Oh,
But it
so
was so
good.
nice being there. It was very cute. It didn't have any electricity. It was all candlelight. You wake up in the morning and these little ducks would come around and like sit by the door and like wait for you to wake up. It was really cute. It was very wholesome. And then with our honeymoon that we're still to go on, we're going to go to Atataki, which is an island off the coast of Rarotonga, which is very exciting, I think. I kind of thought that, I guess, wedding season might go on for longer this year, so I thought that maybe it would be good to have it in May, which I guess is better weather as well.
Yeah, starting to get colder here. It would be nice to escape that for a bit.
Yeah,
So,
good little
yeah, something to look
escape.
forward to. And did you have any kind of helpful resources? You mentioned your like spreadsheets and PowerPoint and Pinterest and stuff, but was there anything else you used in the planning process? I guess you would have known of a lot of vendors already, but yeah, anything else with like finding people or inspiration?
I actually had made a spreadsheet for brides, like a planning spreadsheet that was on my website. And I ended up using that and it was so good. I was like, oh, this is a great resource. So I definitely would recommend people go and like have a look at that because it does really help with
Yeah,
seeing it
we
all
link
in
to
one
that
place.
for sure.
What else did I use? I guess Say I Do, which is the good wedding website for people to click on and find all your information. I think that's pretty much it. Honestly, PowerPoint. I love PowerPoint presentations. And it's a great way to like lay it out and you can see what you're thinking and try different things.
So vision boarding, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a great way to put all your information in one place.
Is there any other advice, maybe from a bride's perspective, that you would say to a couple planning their wedding at the moment?
I think it starts with venue. So like finding your venue, and I think if it does take a bit longer to find the right place for you guys, like that's okay. Just take your time. You don't need to rush. I think weddings are often more about everyone else in the nicest way possible. Like it is also about, you're creating memories for so many different people. and you're bringing your families together, and it's such a rare experience. So to have everyone you love in one place. So I think that is something to treasure.
So rare to have that, as you say, but yeah, that's great advice, and I love the just starting with the venue. I think some people have this whole style and theme in mind and then try and like push that on a certain venue, but should kind
Yeah.
of be the other way around.
Yeah, so true. Just go with the flow and don't like overthink it. Just it will all come together, just slowly but surely.
You're still pretty freshly married, but what is married life like now? Do you feel like you got any of the post-wedding blues?
I heard you say this in another interview, and I was like, I have not heard of this. But
I don't know if it's a thing when you work in the wedding industry, but yeah.
yeah, I definitely feel like we have not had that. We've been almost like on like the honeymoon phase, and it's so good. I'm like, oh, this is a great phase to be in. I just like I don't want this honeymoon phase to stop. So hopefully we can just continue on the honeymoon phase forever, and it can just be blissful. No, but I feel like married life has been more than I thought it would be. It's been like even better than I could have imagined. And it's hard to describe what changed or anything, but it's just great.
Ride that for a while, definitely.
Yeah, please no more. No stopping.
Cool. So good to chat all about your day. And I'd love to ask you about being a wedding dress designer, Clara Bridal. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, kind of how you got started, how you got into it, and yeah, your journey that's led you to where you are today?
I guess the first like peak in the fashion industry was when I was at working for Amber Whitecliffe, who
Mm.
she started as just a ready to wear designer, and then she moved into bridesmaids and then wedding dresses. So she kind of, I guess, opened my eyes to the fact that wedding dresses aren't necessarily so scary. Like, I think when you're in uni, like, it seems like, oh gosh, they're so much harder and they're so much more intricate. And yes, they are, but you know, you, it was capable. It was just, I guess, it put into perspective that it was possible. And then from there, I worked for Zambezi in their head office, and after that, worked at Kate Sylvester doing the production coordinator role. And I guess I was there through COVID, so COVID kind of gave me a chance to think about what I actually want from my life and where the future is for myself and where I want to be. And I think I like the idea of having some freedom and to be able to kind of be my own boss. And during that time, I started doing a jewelry company, which was Capelia. And that was kind of, I guess, I viewed it as my chance to practice having a business and just try, see what happens. And it wasn't like I wasn't afraid to fail because I knew that it was my practice and it was a great learning. And I took it around to different stores around the country, and it was stocked in quite a few different places around New Zealand. And from that, I knew that it wasn't my end goal, but I had so many different creative passions. So I I love painting and obviously love making clothes and obviously the jewelry. And I kind of from high school age thought that I would be doing togs because I love the idea of creating togs that were comfortable and a bit more like covered. And yeah, just but for some reason I held on to that idea. And I was like, during that time over COVID, as you know, it was more the time over when I was working on the jewelry, which gave me time to think. So I was thinking about the three different options that I could go down, like the wedding dress, togs, or painting. And I kind of came to the conclusion that I really like helping people. And during my uni days, I would create custom made pieces for people. And it was something that I really loved to do. And I think it was kind of like a full circle moment where it was like, no, that's actually that's what I love to do, and it's more about the people and those connections that you make, and it's quite a special process to be making something for someone. So that's kind of what led me to Bridal. So I kind of went from there.
Really cool to hear that sort of backstory and journey. And now making amazing dresses. Can you tell us a little bit about the services you offered? You create your own dresses? Do you work with custom quite a lot? Yeah, tell us a bit about that.
So mostly it is people coming to me for custom dresses. So they have an idea in their head, they want to mix up a few dresses, or they've got a combo in their head that they haven't been able to find, and they'll come to me and I'll make their dreams possible. And I do have a core collection which people also order straight from the collection, which has been quite fun, and they can also customize the looks in the collection so they can change them to exactly what they want as well.
So good. Do you do all the alterations, that whole process with them too?
So it's all kind of included in the cost, is like absolutely making it to fit you perfectly. So no hidden charges, which is quite nice.
And I think, a lot of people don't have an idea of how long it can take to make a wedding dress. Can you talk a bit about what is a realistic timeline for brides when it comes to the wedding dress? And specifically around custom, I guess, how far in advance do they need to be sort of inquiring, and then to have it made, have fittings, everything? Can you chat about that process a bit?
So I feel like people usually come to me maybe like 10 to 5 months before the wedding. So earlier the better. It's always a good idea, just to like lock in your spot in the queue. That's the biggest thing, that gets like locking the spot in the queue, because otherwise you miss out. There's usually around 3 to 5 fittings, and we'll do a mock-up dress first out of calico. So you get to try it on, see how you feel in the shape, and like we can get the shape perfect on that before we move on to the real fabric. And then so that's your, I guess, you have your consultation, first fitting, and then it's with the real dress, and then usually hems if you haven't got your shoes yet after that. Kind of, you can actually do it from outside of Auckland as well. People sometimes will just have a virtual consultation, and then I can take all their measurements, or like they get their friend to take their measurements and send it through to me, and then we go from there. So, and I send them the mock-up dress to try on, and then they have someone to pin it in on them. But that works quite well as well as a process.
Oh, cool. That's good to hear as well. Can be anyone, anywhere. Yeah. What are some mistakes that you've seen brides make when it comes to choosing their wedding dress?
I'd probably say just not trusting their instincts. I think your first instinct is usually the right instinct, and I think sometimes you can kind of overwhelm yourself with all the thinking, and it kind of clouds you from what your instincts are. Because I find sometimes brides will they'll have an idea, they'll show me, and they'll be like, oh, actually, can we change it to this? And then they sometimes go back and they're like, actually, no, I like the first one. And I think that you do just have to trust yourself, and you almost have to put away Pinterest for a while. And and Instagram, like, it gives you so much content because you're thinking about it, but you just have to kind of put it to the side and realize, no, you've made the right choice, and you can trust yourself. You don't have to worry or second guess.
Yeah, that's such great advice. I think it's you're making so many decisions around your wedding, and you're having so much like content coming at you if you are on those like
so hard
platforms, which is like amazing, so much inspiration, but you can start like questioning your decisions. So great advice to do that.
You just need to put it away for a while, which is like impossible to do really. But
choosing your dress can be quite like a emotional, vulnerable process. Have you kind of seen this? And can you tell us a bit about sort of supporting brides through that process?
I definitely feel like you do become almost a therapist as a wedding dress designer as well. You're kind of you're helping people
It's
through
quite
the
a close
process.
relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, you do get to know people on a deeper level, which is quite lovely. And then I can just, I guess, help people and make it feel a little bit less scary, because it is, you do want to look amazing. You do want to look the best you ever looked. And I think it is just trusting yourself and trusting that you've made the right choice and trusting me. And I think it can be quite hard when other people are giving you their opinion as well. It can kind of cloud what you truly want. So I think sometimes coming potentially by yourself and then introducing other people to your idea after can sometimes help, because then you truly get what you want out and you're not swayed by other people's opinions. Because that can be a thing as well. It's just, yeah, trusting yourself and being true to yourself and not being swayed.
Yeah, that's great advice. I think carefully thinking about who you take to those fittings, or yeah, bringing people in later in the process. That's a great one.
Yeah, I think if you're a really strong person, that's good. Too many opinions can be hard. Like it just makes it harder to truly know what you want, because you're hearing so many other voices.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, do you have any little tips or hacks? I feel like dress designers have so many things, but yeah, any little details people forget when it comes to dresses, or any kind of, yeah, tips around the dress for the day?
Mm, I guess for the day, like there's a few like little tips that are like industry secret tools. I should have
Mm.
actually brought them here. I could like show them to you. But there's like a spray can which is almost like a talcum powder, and this is great for if something happens beforehand, to any of the dresses, and you just spray it on. It removes any oil or things like that. So great option. And then there's another spray which is a static spray, which is also quite good. And especially for bridesmaids dresses where they're that lightweight fabric. So you just spray it underneath and then magically no static. And then the other thing that I wish that I knew actually before the wedding was to spray bug spray if you've got any lightweight sheer or tulle, because you get so many bugs that you're like a little
Yeah.
walking
You're like a mosquito net. Yeah.
mosquito net. Yeah. Yeah, that's one I wish I knew. And now I'm like telling people, I'm like, "You make sure."
Some great little tips there. Yeah, incredible to be doing all the custom stuff. And I think, yeah, it's so special when you can get your dress made and it be totally different to what anyone else has, and obviously fit you perfectly as well. So, yeah, definitely encourage everyone to go and check out your beautiful work, and get in touch for a chat with Clara. Do you have anything else as we wrap up, or any kind of advice from a vendor's perspective?
I guess more my advice is about your personhood. It's like just trust
Hmm.
yourself, be
Yeah.
center yourself, and at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, and it's all about you and your person, and that is truly all that matters. You hear a lot of voices. You'll probably hear a lot of voices throughout the process, a lot of opinions, but at the end of the day, it is all about you and your person.
Love that. Such good advice. It can be a really stressful season for some people, but yeah, I think just totally remembering that, and yeah, staying grounded
Yeah.
throughout it, so important. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on. It's been so lovely to chat to you.
You too. Good to meet